Hi, I'm Anna. Welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to be looking through my book bullet journal for this year. And I picked out this beautiful bullet journal at Hobby Lobby. Basically, my story is set in 1931 China. So it is half historical, half fantasy. It blends mythology of China with history of China. So it follows a group of individuals that go on adventures and myths. Think of like Mummy, but set in China in the 1930s. So because it's set in the 1930s, I'm going to flip around and show you what I did. I decided to go with a very Art Deco type of style. This is the working title of my book, and then the year I'm going to do it. I'm hoping to get this book completed by the end of 2022. We will see, as I talked about in my last video, I'm hoping to have a goal of writing 20 minutes a day. Now I can write like 2 hours a day, and I'm not going to stop myself, but overall I'm going to aim for writing 20 minutes a day. Okay, so obviously title page, that's easy. I have an index, and I broke the book up into, it's actually going to be a total of 5 parts, but you can only see 4 parts at this time. So I have planning, first draft, research and reference, and then rewrites, and then the final one is going to be publication. I don't have those yet, but I will write that down later. Actually, this gets to a book that I really enjoy. It's called Save the Cat Writes a Novel. It's a great book, but basically it breaks up all stories into 3 acts, 15 beats. So I have a list of all the beats. I haven't obviously put in everything for this book yet, but I have opening image, theme stated, setup, catalyst, debate, break into 2, B story, fun and games, midpoint, bad guys, close in, all is lost, dark night of the soul, and then finally act 3 is break into 3, finale, and final image. I did that wrong because I didn't know that there weren't like 5 beats per act. There's only 3 beats in the third one. Anyway, weird enough, but so I have just this is kind of an outline, and then I have a second outline, which is the chapter outline. And I'm aiming towards about 100,000 words and about 28 chapters. That may change when I actually sit down to write. It may be 30 chapters, it may be 26 chapters. It may be 120,000 words. It may be like 90,000 words. We'll see. This is just like a guesstimate. And then I'm going to go through this and write out kind of what I want in each chapter, but it's not going to be fixed because I am more of a exploratory writer. So I prefer writing as I go as opposed to planning everything out. So I may change this after I start writing a little bit, but I'm hoping this will give me like a general view of like what I want the story to conclude. Okay, now we have characters. This is probably the biggest section of the book, but I have a character template on this page, which shows what I want to include for all the characters. So I'm including age, physical description, personality, family, past, character arc, random, and then notes/things to remember. This is what I'm going to add as I'm writing. So if I come up with a scene where one character is allergic to shrimp, this is where I would put it, because I don't have this in any of their information, but I want to add that so I don't forget it. So that's as I'm writing. So this is the only one I have filled out right now. This is Ren Xinyi. He is my main character. And so I have age, physical description, personality, family, past, character arc, random. This will be things that I add in later. And on the other page, I have just notes, and it is empty. So for all my main characters, I am doing 2 pages. And this is how all the other pages will look right now. Right now, I just have them set up with just the picture of the character, and I pick out an actor. I don't know if you guys do this when you write books, but I love having like an inspiration face, and usually it is a popular actor. So he is a popular Chinese actor that I've really enjoyed in the past, and so are all of these. So I have 8 main characters after the 8 pillars between heaven and earth, which that is based on a mythology. So yeah, so I have all of those are my main characters. Then I have 4 extra pages to here that I'm going to include the lesser characters, and I'll probably do just a small section based on them, but I will still use the character template and just put in all their information, but it won't be quite as big as this guy because he's the main character. So now we get to draft one. So all prior to this was pre-planning that I'm planning to do by, when I first start writing the book. And then this is the notes that I'll actually take as I'm writing the book. So first and foremost, I have the word count tracker. I've seen a lot of these pages on bullet journals where it's like a mood type board and you can fill in things when you go through that day. So if you are sad, you go with blue. If you go with happy, you're like pink. If you go with red, you're angry that day, type thing like that. And I thought that would be really cool to do for the word count. So as you see, I have a lantern and then I have a word count. So 2,500 words. I decided to go every 2,500 words because I tend to be able to write that in one day if I'm going quickly. We'll see because I have not been writing for a long time. But so it goes all the way down to 100,000 words. And I thought I could fill this in with this color of pen, a pink type color. And then all of these will be full by the time I finish the first draft. I thought it might be something fun to encourage me to keep writing because it's going to look really pretty when it's done. All right, next I have the playlist. I'm not sure if you guys do this when you write, but I tend to love to have like an inspiration playlist. Now, sometimes it can be for specific characters. For example, this one, it's a great song. I love the song, but it is actually inspired by one of the couples in the book. And so I have that there, but quite a few of these are just for the entire book. So yeah, I thought this would be a fun way to like just include what I like on my playlist. All right, next we have the weekly spreads. So this is the equivalent to like a weekly spread in a bullet journal where you have a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, where this is, I actually have chapters. So I put down just what I'm going to include in each of these things. So I'm going to have the dates, how long it took me to actually write that chapter, the word count of how many words I ended the chapter with, what characters are featured within that chapter, and then finally just any notes I want to remember for myself, whether it's things that I hinted to now that I want to bring up later, or just simply like issues I'm having with the book that I need to resolve, things like that. And I went with pretty drawings on the side. I don't know why, like, sometimes it will, like, focus, but other times it's just like, nah, I'm good. Okay, but I have a whole bunch of that for this. For each chapter, obviously, I have it up to 28. Yes. Is that a Yeti? Don't you love my horrible art of, like, a Chinese Yeti? It's great. It's beautiful. Anyway, this might be my favorite section of the book. This is for research and resources. So this is where I wanted to include like some inspiration boards as well as just any historical research I do for the time period. I want to put down the books I read and things like that, as well as any like topics I need to research further. I thought that would be really helpful to do. I'm not like super happy with how this page turned out, but it's my first like book bullet journal, and I was really experimenting with a lot of like typical bullet journal things. So now we get to my two favorite pages. So this one, doesn't that look cool? I'm so happy with how this turned out. It's so pretty. So basically this page is all about clothing inspiration. So China was a weird time in the 1930s because you have more of the traditional type garb. You have more of like the city garb versus the rural garb. You have the military garb. And then you have things like the qipao, which were like more modern garb that was used by the Manchus, who were in control of China up till like 1912 when the final Chinese dynasty fell. Enough history about that. So I have a lot of like varying clothes. Obviously, like he's in the military, so I give him certain clothes. She's in the rural country, but very cold, so she wears like things like fur. He is a wealthy mobster, so he wears certain things. And then you have like the qipao and the changshan, which are like the more traditional garb, but not like the original garb. And then of course you have Yeti. Did you know that the Yeren, which means wild man, is the Yeti in Chinese mythology? Really interesting. Really interesting. Anyway, I absolutely love this page so much. It turned out so pretty. And the next one is more of like China in general. So I have obviously a big map of China circa 1930 because a lot of the provinces we think of in modern China were not the same in this area. But I do have Shanghai as well as Beijing, which is spelled like very weird. It's like Beiping, Peiping. I don't know. It's weird. Then I also have a map of Shanghai, which is on the Huangpu River here, but it is a tributary, I believe, of the Yangtze River. So the Yangtze River is like out here. And then you have like rural versus city again, which is really interesting because you have these like towns. Obviously this is a winter town in China that's very traditional, but then like even in Shanghai, you have the more Art Deco modern with the cars, but then you also have more of the traditional, and then even more traditional than this. So I just have a lot of like small information for me that I want to remember, from like a Chinese proverb to common features of Chinese architecture to what kind of car is this, and things like that. So just to give me a little information. The next page is my bibliography. This is going to be super useful because this is where I put all the books that I'm going to read and research. And these check marks are for if I've read the book, it's going to receive a check. If I haven't read the book, but I want to for research, it's going to also go on there. I'm not sure, like, if this will be enough pages because I probably will need to research more than just what's on this page, but we'll see. And then topics to read or research. And I don't know, I like the card thing. I tried to make each page very creative, but basically this is just like if I need to research like qipao, the traditional garb in China, things like that. And then I have the rewrite. Okay, and I put fireworks because I'm like, if I get to the rewrite, okay, this will be a celebration because, yeah, that's awesome. So for my rewrite notes, and we're almost done, I promise, I categorize them into 4 different parts. So I have like major changes. These are the things I probably will need to look at first. This is like if I definitely don't think like an entire plot line needs to be there, or if I need to change things majorly around, chronological order, things like that. This is where I would put notes on that. And then I have character changes, either small or big. I have research extras. This is where maybe I finished the first draft, but I realized that I didn't know enough about a certain topic during writing it, and that I want to go back and do a lot of research on that topic before I go back through a rewrite. This is where I would do that. And then other just changes. So, and then I just have rewrite 1, which is an entire page. And as you can see, it has the exact same weekly things as the original one, just much shorter, because at that point I will have a gauge on like what the story is. This is where I actually decided to stop this journal because I wanted to leave this open in case I have, I end up with 30 chapters. I don't want to end with 28, not be able to include the last one. So I decided to just stop here and leave like any future rewrites, anything like that for later. So there is my bullet journal. Definitely my favorite page are these 2, and they definitely probably took me the longest to do, but it is a lot of fun doing a book bullet journal. And I'm curious to see if you guys have ever tried a book bullet journal for a book that you are writing. So there is the bullet journal that I'm using to write my book. I've already started writing it as of when you are seeing this, but I'm filming this a little bit early. We will see how this turns out. I'm hoping that this bullet journal, because it just turned out so pretty. I'm so happy with it. Because it's so pretty, I'm hoping that it will encourage me to like continue and write more, because I have so many encouragements and so many things to fill out. And yeah, I do have a couple days before the beginning of the year, and I'm going to fill out a lot of the things. I expressly left them empty because I don't necessarily want you to know a lot of the like plot things that I'm adding, because what if somebody like is crazy online and like steals my plot? That is not appropriate. So I will be like purposefully vague when talking about my book, so I'm sorry about that in advance. But do you have any thoughts about my bullet journal? Is there anything like you would change if you are a writer? Is this something that you think would be useful, or would it just like bog you down in too much details? I'd love to know your thoughts down in the comments. I post every Saturday and Wednesday now at 6 p.m. Eastern time, and I will see you all in the next video. Have a great half week. Bye.